Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We have an all-star panel today assembled to discuss comprehensive vehicle inspections, probably never before than right now in our industry. The panel was assembled by UVEye, leader in the industry in comprehensive vehicle inspections. I'd like to introduce everybody to Jim Bayline and welcome him back. Jim, welcome back to the conference.
Thank you so much, Ted. Always great to be a part of it.
Jim, thank you for all that you do for the industry. And I'll go around, if that's okay, starting with Kyle. I'll have you just give us a brief introduction. Tell us who you are, and we'll start again with Kyle.
Service director for Carl Black Automotive Group out of Orlando, Florida. Been in the business about 21 years.
Excellent. We're very honored today to have you, Kyle, and honored as well. Fred Fortin is joining the group. Welcome, Fred.
Great to be here again, Ted. Thank you.
Fred, you're known probably for one of the things is the development of that ASR Pro, which is part of the CDK system today. So again, thank you very much for joining us. Honored to have you. Sean Butler, welcome.
Hey guys, Sean Butler. I'm with Yamansky Auto Group. I'm the fixed operations director for the stores in East Tennessee, and I've been in this business for about 26 years now.
All right, Sean, welcome. Sir Sean Kingery, hello.
Mr. Ings, how are you, sir? Thank you for having me again. Sean Kingery, VP of Fixed Operations for the Kaiser Automotive Group in sunny, beautiful Wisconsin.
All right, especially this time of year.
Yes.
And Bill Demery, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Ted. Great to be here. I am with the Tom Wood Group based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm here in sunny Indianapolis. Been in business about 37 years.
All right. So a lot of talent here today. Thank you for being here, everybody. Kyle, I want to come to you, get a little bit of the background from you on how you came about to use the UVEye system, how you deploy it at the dealerships, and give us a little bit of color on that, if you don't mind.
Alex, our dealer principal for our organization, was at they were out at a digital dealer. They saw it. Alex reached out to me. I was in the Atlanta area at the time. We reached out to Jim. Jim got us set up with a wholesale dealer. The wholesale dealer walked us through the process of the inspection and everything that the inspection did and what we were looking for the technology for the dealership. Alex looked at me. I looked at Alex. I said, we got to figure out how we can get this to speed up processes and stuff. So with Jim getting us the connection at that Atlanta store to be able to introduce and see the actual stuff firsthand. As soon as you see it, it sells itself. There's nothing about that technology. If you're a dealer right now and you don't have it, you're behind the game. But that's basically how we saw it, how we seen it, what we did, decided, and how we figured it out. Then Jim worked with Alex on getting each store set up with the appropriate amount of lanes. Once it happened, then each store has their service director figure out a process works best for that store. Once we did that, everything else is basically an afterthought. We currently use it, have it, and hopefully we never get rid of it.
Well, you mentioned once you see it. So if you don't mind, Kyle and Jim, I'm going to show a short video on exactly how that UVEye system works. Jim, obviously there's a lot of uses for this system, for this inspection on the service drive. And you have an alliance I see there with General Motors, I think you could speak to as well. But today we'll talk a little bit about how it's used in the inspection process on used vehicles and merchandising, Jim, as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of the conversation. We thought early on service, of course, it's going to be installed there. It's really going to impact every interaction in the service lane potentially. But as we've discussed in other conversations and panel discussions, I spent a lot of time as used car manager. So being fortunate to be brought in early, essentially employee number 4 for UVEye in the US and built out the go-to-market strategy, a big part of my conversation was trade appraisal, reconditioning, and really speed to inspection. That's sort of a term that we sort of put together over the last year or two. How can we impact speed to inspection, especially on the appraisal side? The clock starts immediately when you take that car in. So it's really an important conversation of how our technology can speed that up for dealers.
I've never heard it being more important than it is right now. Bill Demery, I understand you've got a UVEye system that's on the way at Tom Wood Automotive Group. Talk to us a little bit about that and maybe how your dealer group has comprehensively inspected vehicles, in terms of time and quality control.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're really excited to get the system in. It's kind of a new way of looking at vehicles. We have Hunter systems in all of our stores, the drive-through camera systems. So we're kind of used to, I think, the entry part of that inspection. When I saw UVEye at NADA actually last year, I couldn't comprehend how it's taking pictures of the tires. I couldn't figure out how it's measuring the thickness of the paint and the opportunity that we have just on the small recon items as these vehicles are rolling through our service drive. We quickly started meeting with the leadership of our stores. Said, man, this is a used car appraisal tool. This is a blueprinting tool at my large collision center. This is a tool that really, it's endless of what it can do for us. Not only from the liability side of, yeah, those wheels were like that when it came in, to the opportunity to find these nicks and dings and stuff that we just simply don't see as the cars come through. We're pretty excited about this thing rolling in next week.
And, getting these vehicles to market quickly, again, super timely. We've had a lot of discussion at this roundtable from dealers and leaders. Sean Kingery at Kaiser Automotive Group, how do you today, or how does your group inspect vehicles, and what's the process there?
There's two different sides to that, Ted. There's on let's talk about the service side, the fixed side, the important place that pays the bills. Listen, it's a growing challenge. We know that. As you know, I took over a group that was a little bit challenged on the technology side. And as we're rolling things out with Brooke and X-Time and, Sunbit and everything else that we're doing, and Traver, this is a tool. Listen, it's funny because today, as you and I were speaking earlier, Ted, I'm in the car and I've got my 2 warranty guys now for the group. And I says, listen, if you're not inspecting cars today, you're in trouble tomorrow, guys. We talk about, Ted, we spend a lot of time on your panels talking about EV, okay? We know the maintenance side of the business is going away. It may or may not be in the next 5 or 10 years, but if you're not set for inspections, you're going to fail. There's nothing left to do. Now, let's go to the variable side, the dark side. Guys, the used car market has never been uglier than it is right now. And Fred, inspect through X-Time. I know that's your product and that was your gig. Listen, and I know there was some pre-talk before the panel about used car managers having blinders on. Oh, that wasn't there before, or I didn't see that. Listen, this takes all the question out of it. It really, really does. And to the body shop, the collision center side of it, where I have 3 and we're going to open hopefully 2 more here very soon. I think the collision center side of this is a monster because you're already there. You're already fixing the car. What's it take to fix that other? It's an upsell opportunity. I mean, the inspect side of it on variable or fixed, whatever side you want to go, I think it's endless. I think could be a home run. And again, I know that there's product line issues. There's issues trying to get some product, but you get this rolled out and you get the integration done well. Guys, this is a no-brainer next step.
And Sean, I just met with a dealer, 3 stores, and talking to UVEye, and they want to put it not on the service drive, but in their reconditioning, in their recon center. He said that's the place we can go because we can split that cost among the stores, and that will affect all of our dealerships. So he said that's the low-hanging fruit and the place to initially install the system, Sean.
And Ted, you know, I'm a big fan. I'm a big proponent of centralized recon centers, by the way, for dealerships. Get that used car out of the dealership. Let the service drive take on more customer pay work. Stop saying no, by the way. I hate to say no. Listen, you put this in a recon center, now you can inspect the car. It's again, like I said, 7 stores, 8 stores, or 25 stores, like where I came from. You split that cost over that, there's no cost to send. And again, you're going to upsell. You're going to your ROI on that is a no-brainer. It's very quick.
Fred, you've seen over many years a lot of technology come and go. Fred, I don't recall something like this that really changes the game of inspecting vehicles.
Yeah, that's a very fair statement, Ted. You know, having been, I don't know what term you want to call it, having been one of the founders of the electronic inspection industry, if this technology was available 20, 25 years ago when I was building, it would have been a whole different world. And this has so many facets to it. It's not just let's make sure technicians are doing a good inspection, or let's make sure that the lane is doing what they're supposed to do. I've been working with a company called Integrated Auction Solutions, and the guys there, they're very, very innovative. They're trying to change the way used car appraisals are done. And one of the big things there is, while the customer is standing there, can we get real-time valuation right there on the phone in the moment? And if the vehicle has already gone through UVEye and that data is just automatically integrated into the product that they're building, it instantly changes the game, because while my customer's standing there, while I'm walking around, I'm already looking at the values of those vehicles and what my real opportunity is with this customer. So yeah, it's enormous.
And Fred, the other word that comes to mind is the word consistency, because as human beings, we're not always consistent in how we do things or how we look at things, if we look at things. But this gives consistency using technology, which, again, I have not seen before in the industry.
That's fair. And one of the funny, maybe it's not funny, but, perhaps the most talented people we have on the dark side, as Sean put it, are the used car guys, right? Because they don't get to have the consistency of, here's the invoice for this brand new X, and every one of them are going to be the same. They don't have that capability. Every car is different. Every MSRP is different. And the problem is, no two guys appraise a car exactly the same way. And so if you can build that consistency, if you can offer a solution like this where, hey, you no longer have to be able to read a paint meter, you don't have to remember to have it in your pocket. All of the things that go with it, it changes the game, no doubt.
Sean Butler, you lead quite a few stores there, Umansky. What are your thoughts on the retail use for this?
Oh, yeah, I can definitely see where it would improve and make the process consistent for evaluating the cars, right? So if you have, say, our Honda store over in Bristol, they sell almost 100 used cars a month. So that probably means that they appraise 120 or 130. So therefore it would speed and it would make the process. Because at 7 o'clock at night when it's dark over here in the mountains this time of year, are you looking under the car to see if it's got oil leaks? Can you see if it's got the damage to the exterior? And how about saving on your reconditioning costs if you already can kind of know up front the exteriors, the wheels, the tires? You can see if the brake rotors are grooved up through the wheels. There's a lot of advantages to a product like this, just in an overall operational cost.
Yeah, I agree. Kyle, let me come back to you because you're using the platform, the technology right now. What are some of the benefits that you've seen, in terms of, not just the dollars, but also on the customer side, the customer experience and, getting that vehicle to market a little bit quicker as well?
The customer experience, as soon as they come across a service drive, they're like, wow, what is this? And then that opens it up for the advisor to tell the customer, hey, this is inspection. We're consistent. We're transparent. We have kiosks set up at the end of our service drive. So my service advisors walk the customer over there, show them the inspection, send it to them in a text message so they have that. Literally, the system itself is the most transparent you can be. You're literally showing them in real time tire DOTs, if the tire's expired, if the vehicle's got oil leaks. My used car department runs every trade through. So everybody knows a used car manager who walks around a car. If it's shiny, if it's got good paint, they're going to put a good price. We know with Corvettes and Highline vehicles that if tires go bad, it's expensive. Vehicles got oil leaks, it's expensive. So this is a really good tool for the sales manager, the used car manager, the salesman to negotiate that price, where a customer left another dealer due to the trade value, and then we're bringing them back down to earth. They wanted $40,000 for that Corvette. We know we got tires, we got oil leaks, the vehicle needs brakes. So we can realign that customer. We can then close that deal that the dealer did down the street that gave them a really bad price, but didn't really explain it. It was just basically, hey, the vehicle's worth $40,000. That's where we're at. We're here. We can be transparent. We can show them everything. We can literally show them the tire tread, the oil leak, and then there's an opportunity there to mine every service customer that comes through. So every car that we write up goes through. So the used car manager is low on inventory. He can go through and he can actually mine all these used cars that are literally in service. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm on the fixed side. I want to fix cars and make money. But if they're selling more, I'm getting more opportunity. I'm going to be able to recondition it, and it's just going to be turning that money.
Jim, you got a unique perspective because of your, deep experience on the retail side. Talk to us a little bit about that reconditioning opportunity and, how the comprehensive inspection, can be used there, and the speed that you and I discussed before we got started today.
Yeah, again, speed to inspection is so critical to the acquisition, the trade appraisal process. So many really smart points from everyone in the panel. For me, when you start talking about how we impact that process, I think it's very similar to, if I could make the comparison, vAuto. So I was very lucky to work at a dealership that was an early adopter of vAuto. And the reason why it was so revolutionary is it brought fresh data to a decision that largely was based on my gut, right? I walk around it, I touch it, I feel it, like we were talking about, right? It's shiny, it's clean, it's worth $8,000. Is it? Is it not? There was really no way to document that, right? With vAuto, it gave you all this data, market data, to really make smart, data-driven decisions. I feel like we are as disruptive as they were when they first came into the market, because we provide inspection data to go along with that market data. So now every decision you make in terms of acquiring a vehicle can be a really smart, data-driven decision on, like Kyle's example, putting 40 grand in that car. Why is it worth 40 grand? Mr. Customer, here's why. Here's a report. It's very dynamic. Here's the images. Here's the tires, the underbody. It just provides so much information in real time that it really can impact that speed to inspection process. And, what I hated as a used car manager was the hope strategy, right? I took it in. I didn't really walk around it that well. I was working 10 deals. It was a Saturday. We were busy. I touched it. I walked around it. I had the sales guy drive it. I put a number on it. I make the deal. And then I hoped, right? I hoped that Kyle didn't call me, or Sean didn't call me and say, or Bill, or whatever the example is. I hope that they didn't call me 3 days later or 2 days later and said, oh man, you got to come back and take a look at this. It's got this, it's got that, it's got a leak. Our technology provides dealers the ability to put every trade essentially on a lift in 10 seconds in real time. Wow. So I just feel like we're really impactful in terms of the inspection data we provide in real time to make really good decisions about the vehicle you're taking in.
Bill, over at Tom Wood Automotive Group, you've got a lot of rooftops, a lot of dealerships. I can't imagine the number of used vehicles that you retail on a monthly basis. But talk to us a little bit about that reconditioning opportunity and perhaps how that may be deployed at your group.
Yeah, it's definitely front and center of attention for 2023. We watched it really close in 2022. Put a lot of pressure on the fixed ops as our group. We have to stand tall right now, and the number one focus we have is throughput of our used cars. So to finally start seeing UVEye come alive in one of my stores is really exciting. I already have a few other stores anxious to get over and see that timeline, because like Jim said, if you look at the time it takes to check a used vehicle, and we have no idea what it needs. By the time it gets off the back lot, gets into the shop, that might be a couple days. And then we look it over, and then we send the ASR inspection, and we send it to the used car manager. And then we got to wait on, always at the auction. We have to wait on a lot of things where we're going to drive this thing through a UVEye and have a printout like now in front of us. We can make quick decisions without waiting. We know, as Kyle said, we know it needs tires. We know it has an oil leak. We know it needs, all these different things. The wheels are chipped. Do you want the paint taken care of? Oh, your tires are expired. Let's go ahead and get this stuff pre-approved. Let's go ahead and get these things ordered and coming in before the car ever hits into the shop. This is a true game changer of turning up in the speed of the UCI. We know the used cars, the evaluations. We know the watermark. It's fluctuating by the minute, and we don't have time to park the car in the back lot for days and weeks waiting to come in the shop. And we have a technology like this, so we're quite excited about it. And again, I mentioned earlier, think about a blueprinting in a collision center. We have a very large collision center, and I timed it. It's 40 minutes. The car comes in. By the time you're continuing a conversation as they're walking and they're circling and they're pointing out what they might or might not see on a vehicle, that how many seconds is that, Jim? If we drive this through a collision, it blueprints itself. We don't have to have that conversation. We have a printout and a blueprint. So the number one thing we're going to do is blueprint a vehicle, drive it down to our Lexus store and UVEye and see what the difference is. I think it's going to be startling.
Awesome.
Jim, somebody made the comment that it's sort of like an MRI, right, for the vehicle. And that's probably a pretty good analogy, Jim.
Yeah, it's a great way to describe it high level. We can inspect what we can see. We capture it automatically, which I think, when you start talking about consistency is a term that was mentioned earlier. Consistent, accurate, fast, just providing a ton of vehicle inspection data in real time. Something that was mentioned earlier too that I think is really important to touch on is client experience. Spending 20 years in the dealership world, managing at different levels, if you can impact granularly at the customer survey level, I think what you're doing is really impactful. And we've been really, really excited to see that actually unfold at some stores. I believe Kyle's even seen some of those examples where customers have come to their dealerships. They've had a great service experience. That experience included UVEye, and then they've gone ahead and added that to their customer survey, talking about this really cool technology they've driven through. For me, spending my whole life in automotive, like to see those texts coming through from Kyle and some of our other dealers, that really validates how we can impact on the client experience side as well.
Well, Kyle, talk to us about that and, some of the things that you've seen and that Jim's mentioning here.
Well, one of the biggest things we see, like I said, is the wow factor. A customer comes through, it's like you've seen the video. It's something you've never seen before. Like I said, here we went through a $4.5 million build. We had an option to go with Hunter or UVEye. We went with UVEye. UVEye, just the customer experience, the transparency. The customer, the consumer sees the product. It's nothing to hide. They have access to the link themselves. We send them the link. They can go in our waiting room and sit there. When the survey comes in and it says, was the vehicle inspected? We're top box in that because every vehicle comes through gets inspected on our sales side and on our service side. So that customer sees that, hey, this dealer is actually investing in technology and they're wanting to be transparent because everybody knows, hey, it's the shady dealer. They're going to tell me I got an oil leak, they got this, they got that. We're able to take out that portion of the business and just focus on them and say, hey, look, this is what we got. Before we even get it to a lift and put it in the air, you already got an inspection. It's a time saver. Literally, like on the sales side, as Jim said, used car manager is working 8-9 deals. He's got one appraiser. He's going out. He can literally sit at his desk, continue to work the deals with the bank, and then he's got all the inspections there. So he can basically look at it real quick, go through it, put down a number, give it to the salesman. The salesman can go out and explain to the customer why the trade value is what it is. It's literally a time saver. It's a transparency. It's consistent every time. You can go back into archives and you can see the customer comes in this month and then tries to come back in next month to get a different appraisal, the used car manager can go in and actually see the data that, okay, they did get tires put on it. So that trade is worth a little bit more. Like I said, it's consistency, it's transparency. And that's what our business has lacked years after years, is the bad dealer, the no transparency, no consistency. One guy says one thing, puts a different price on it. So it gets rid of the games. We're literally, it's black and white. Here's your inspection. Here, you can have a copy of it. We're not hiding anything from you. This is what market value is. This is what the turnaround time is. And we can start that process and service of getting tires ordered as soon as the deal is funded. You can literally get the process rolling.
Sean Kingery, you've been on a number of panels here at the Roundtable. This time and on previous occasions, we're hearing that T word, transparency, Sean Kingery, a lot.
You know, it's funny, Ted, as I sit here thinking, going through this in my head, and I'm a firm believer in process. Everybody knows that, I think. You know, and I put processes in place, and this goes back to what I'm going to tie two things into what Jim said. If for our day to market was 14 days when I got here. That doesn't work, guys, or it just doesn't work. And by the way, the used car manager isn't going to approve anything. He's no different than a customer that you bring the inspection to at the cashier window. The car's, it's too late. You missed the window, okay? So what I do is I put a process in place that if we go beyond 5 days, I cut the bill in half, and everybody takes a bite of that. The service writers, the techs, and the parts department. Magically, my used car volume, my used car RO goes up because now the used car manager is happier by day to market. The other thing I like about this, guys, looking at the sales side and trying to be, transparent on both sides. What's a customer doing before they come in? They're looking at the car online before they ever come in. Yeah. You have these pictures. I guarantee your competitor doesn't. You don't have this digital inspection, not something that's pencil whipped. It's the car. It's the underneath of the car. Listen, you trade for it. You come in and needs tires, drive it through again. Now you have the new pictures. And Jim mentioned UVEye. You integrate these pictures into UVEye that's pushed online. The biggest obstacle this group had, believe it or not, wasn't the used car department. It was photos. And whatever recon tool you're using, and we all know there's a couple of them out there. And Ted, some are on your roundtables. Mm-hmm. Guys, whatever recon tool you're using, the days to market, you got to find out where your roadblocks are. You got to remove it. This removes a huge roadblock.
Yeah, it removes all the bottlenecks. Fred, it's interesting, Fred, to hear all these people from retail, leaders in retail, talking about this one technology and, again, how it's a game changer.
Yeah, I think, Kyle said something that's really, really key here. Guys, if we look at the industry, we came out, ASR Pro and MPI Edge came out roughly 20 years ago. I hate to date myself that much, but and if we look at the industry today, we've got 17,000 new car dealers, and only half of them are utilizing this technology by somebody's brand, right? It's taken us this long to get dealers awake and aware that there's a technology that has your people do a better job, has your customers look at you differently, gets you better CSI scores. So I just hope where this technology now with UVEye is concerned, I hope we don't have the same time to market. Our problem with our used car inventory is UVEye's problem with auto dealers, right? We've got to make sure that the education in this is so valuable and so worthwhile that
good point.
Nobody wants their competitors to have it, but if we're going to get customers to stop looking at us as, to Kyle's words, the dirty car dealer, this is one of the ways we do that.
Sean Butler, Fred's mentioning a couple things like the MPI, and today, Sean Butler, that's an expectation, right? That we're going to have an MPI for the customer and that they're going to receive it. In fact, something would be wrong, right, if they didn't receive that MPI, and now it's fully anticipated to be part of the process. Sean, talk to us about some of your thoughts.
Well, so I was along the lines with Sean Kingery. I was thinking about tying it into how quickly can you put the pictures online, which is obviously a lot of websites have cars online that haven't even been through the shop yet, right? They're trying to get hits on them, see the interest. So definitely that piece. But more importantly, how important is the video MPI becoming? More and more shops are adding video MPIs. right? Goes hand in hand with that. You're getting that video up front. So you're setting the expectation. So now you're advancing the technology. The technician sends over his video MPI. It goes right hand in hand, follows right back with that, which is a more in-depth, right? But they're just 1-2. It's a 1-2 punch. You're fully transparent. Nobody's hiding anything. And I totally love the concept of this and the time to market. You know, much like Mr. Kingery, we had issues with being 8 to 12 days, and now we're down to like 4.7. Could we even get that another 2 days out of this using this product?
Yeah.
It's conceivable.
Yeah. I just had a dealer on here with the number of rooftops selling, I believe several hundred used vehicles a month. And, you know, when you do the math on it, and it's just a no-brainer. Jim, I'll give you the last word. Bring it home. You know, what do you see for the year ahead here in 2023? A lot of folks are excited about using the platform, and all yours, Jim.
Well, yeah, again, appreciate this awesome conversation. So much to talk about, so many great, smart points being made. Sean touched on something that I think is really important to sort of wrap up with. One of our pieces of technology, Atlas Light, Bill, I think will have one hopefully next week, I think is the time frame. I know Kyle, his Nashville, actually Kennesaw, Georgia store has one as well. The reason I bring that up is that piece of equipment is built to capture merchandising photos. So when you start to talk about speed to inspection and pair that with speed to market, now you're able to drive through Atlas Light and have merchandising quality photos that we're capturing that you can just grab, click, and drop into Viato. Now that car, we're essentially automating a lot of that merchandising process. So that's something we're really excited to continue to develop in 2023. We grew that technology, that capability in 22. We tweaked it. It's ready to go. It looks great. Actually, their Kennesaw store is actually using the photos, especially on the new car side. My gosh, how many new cars aren't photoed, right? Even on the used car side, I used to hate that when my Viato performance manager would come in and said, "Hey, you got 26 cars that aren't photoed." Now you could take a brand new vehicle off that truck, pull the plastic, run it through the car wash, drive it through Atlas Light. Now the car is merchandised, and then you can get it, you know, to your normal new car prep or whatever your process might be. So we really have the ability to speed that time to market through Atlas Light. It's just, we're excited. 2023 is set up to be a really big year for us. We're excited to have partners like Kyle and Carl Black, Bill, and the Tom Wood Group, and we're looking to expand that. Our partnership with General Motors is really, really developed. We have a retail partnership with them and some really exciting things coming around NADA. So just looking to continue to grow that.
Jim, are you going to be at NADA end of the week?
Yeah, really excited. I'm actually going to be in the General Motors booth.
Okay.
Part of our retail partnership is they're bringing us in to be a part of their booth. So we'll have a UVEye set up at our own booth, which will be the first time we've ever had a full system on display. Okay. We're also going to have something set up in the GM booth. So yeah, I'll be there, and I'm really excited to meet everyone, see everyone.
Jim, for those in the audience who are not going to NADA, how do they reach out to you? I see the UVEye website is on here, and I see an email as well.
Yeah, I mean, my email is the easiest way to get a hold of me. jim.b@uvei.com. I'm the regional sales director, so I'm all over the country, actually in Chicago today, meeting with dealers. So yeah, reach out, and we have a ton of information, great partnerships, and love to hook you up with Kyle or Bill to have conversations about how the process has gone.
All right, we'll leave it there. I want to thank Kyle Cloud. Thank you so much for being with us today from the Carl Black Automotive Group. Fred Forden, one of the great leaders in our industry, Sean Butler, Sean Kingery, and Bill Demery from Tom Wood Automotive Group. Jim Bayline from UVEye, thank you for all you do for the industry. And the Comprehensive Vehicle Inspections Panel here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.